Well, there's nothing I love to do more than getting out with my metal detector and finding America. Well, welcome to Finding America. It is really nice to see you here. Now, I can't tell you how many times over the years I've heard people say, there's nothing out there left to be found. It's all hunted out. Well, even as a 12-year-old boy, when I first started metal detecting, I didn't pay that nonsense any mind at all. And yes, there were some people even back then saying that. All you have to do is look on Facebook, the forums, and here on YouTube to see the thousands of people that are making amazing finds every single minute of every single day. And there are even more great things waiting to be found at your hard-hunted spots as well. All you have to do to find them is swing low and slow, dig it all, have a positive attitude, and even more importantly, have patience and perseverance. Now, this first hunt you're about to see is at the site of an 1800s house that I have hunted to death. But I know there's still more to be found there. And as it turned out, there was. Well, I got a signal here. I found a lot of Indian head pennies here in the past. And this one was only giving me an 11. So I wasn't thinking much about this one. I just went down to get it. And it was down below this root, and I threw it up here on my drop cloth. And it's a penny. So when I kind of peeked at it right there, pretty sure I have an Indian. And they usually come out pretty nice in this yard. Oh, heck yeah, it's definitely an Indian. Man, this Indian is beautiful. Look at this. What is that, 1896, I believe? Wow. I'll tell you what, it's been a little while since I got one. It's nice. I love digging Indians up. Oh, that one's going to clean up beautifully. So there you go. There's one I missed a long time ago. Well, this thing was giving me a 15. I went from an Indian head penny to an ignition coil. It's an old Bosch, some foreign car ignition coil, but yeah, that's digging it all. Well, this house, we're not really sure just how old it was, but I think it went back well into the 1800s, maybe the 1880s or 70s. It was down here on the river. This is the original walk up to where the house used to be, but now it just ends right at an old trailer. And I found that Indian over here. I found probably 5 or 6 Indians right in this area, so I was just working this again, and nothing too exciting right here, but interesting. It was giving me only a one direction signal, and I pulled out this piece of iron. It's pretty interesting. It's got this flattened area on the end of it. I thought it was going to be a utensil handle, but I don't think so. Almost looks like, I really don't know. But it's a pretty neat piece, and it's definitely old. And this was in the plug too, but not terribly old. Little screw top. Well, this thing was giving me a 15. Once I got down to about 7 inches, I lost the signal. And so I just poked around a little more, took some more dirt out, and there it was. It must have been turned over on its side. But it's pretty wild because a couple of years ago, I found the match to this one. It's a very old cufflink. It was gold plated. Pretty cool though. And I'd say it's probably late early 1900s. But I found the other one that matches this one just about 10 feet away a couple years ago. That's pretty wild. You don't usually find a pair of them. Well, I just found that old cufflink, and I was getting like a 10 or an 11 right here. Pretty far down, about 6 inches. And check it out. I think this might be something interesting. Oh baby, look at that. That's like an old pin. And that might be silver. It's ringing kind of low, but it's really a skinny piece. And it was deep. That little flower at the end. That is beautiful. Wow, definitely an old piece. Late 1800s, early 1900s. I'll get it cleaned up, a little better picture to show you, but I'm very happy to get that. I'll tell you, these old places, these old permissions that I've hunted, pretty much if it gets me a signal, I'm going to dig it, and a lot of times it pays off. Well, this one was giving me a nice 23, 24 signal. It was way down there, probably 10, 11 inches. And I couldn't believe it when I popped it out. Check this out. Let me get it out in the light here. Oh, let's see. That is one cool toy car. That's an early one too. Wow, that is an old Hot Wheels. Very cool. Some type of dragster. Oh, that's awesome actually. I'll tell you, that's very, very cool. Well, this is what's across the street from where I've been hunting. Beautiful Pigeon River coming out of the mountains. And I was talking to the homeowner, and he told me that he came over here, and right in this area he found a silver quarter and a silver dime right on top of the ground. And I'm going to pull him up on my phone. He doesn't really know coins, but it was either a barber or seated. So I'm going to pull him up and see if he can identify which ones he found. And so I've been wanting to come down here since I talked to him the other day, and now I'm sharing the area with 3 goats and 4 roosters. So this little goat is cute. Her name's Baby, and there's going to be a lot of garbage here, but we're going to give it a shot and maybe see if there's a coin or 2 left over. Well, this one was giving me an 18, 19. Gave me a nice little target right there. I'm thinking this is an air cleaner lid to some old car. Yep, the joys of hunting alongside the river. Well, Baby's been keeping me company here. She's been having a ball watching me constantly digging up trash. But I just know one of these holes is going to have something good in it. What do you think? Well, you definitely can't ask for a better place to metal detect. Even if you don't find anything, it's just beautiful. But actually, I did find something. Over here, it was giving me a 17. It was way down, almost a foot. And I'm thinking, well, it's probably going to be a can. And I pulled it up, and look at this. It's hinged. I thought compact, but it is very, very thin. So I'm going to get this brushed off, but I wanted to show you it just the way I saw it. Hopefully there's something interesting to see on this. Oh, that's darn cool, isn't it? Look at that. Stars all the way around a big central star. The other side, sort of kind of a graph design. Now I'm thinking maybe this was probably a pocket mirror. And it's going to date probably early 1900s. So that is really cool. I wish it wasn't so mangled up, but hey, what the heck? It beats an air cleaner lid. I stood up and grabbed my detector, and I thought I saw something. I kicked the leaves aside, and looks like I might have a cold cream jar. Look at that, just sticking out of the ground. Let's see if I can get it out. Left-handed. Boy, it's a big one. Still has the lid on it. Check that out. Very nice. Probably going to be 30s or 40s. I don't see any markings on it. But, cool piece. Well, we have yet another mystery solved this week, thanks to all of you watching last week. You might recall a slightly deteriorated but very pretty find that I made in last week's video. Now, I got a ton of response to this mystery find, and the vast consensus seemed to agree on one answer, and I have to agree with them as well. But the very first person who did let me know was Homestead Hunter DWD, who suggested that this was a very ornate drawer pull. So I want to give a huge thank you to Homestead Hunter and everyone else that helped shut the drawer on this one and make this mystery find a mystery solved. Well, I found some nice things at that spot, but certainly not enough for a video. So the very next day, I decided I'd get up bright and early on Sunday and head to one of my favorite spots, the Dig It All field. Now, I've hunted this one to death too, but I was having a lot of fun chasing some iffy signals and finding some things that I'd missed in the past. Well, I am in the Dig It All field, and of course, anytime I'm here, you're going to hear some traffic noise. It's a major intersection here. But I started off with the big coil, but the ground is so dry that after about 10 or 11 inches, I was like, oh Lord. So I went and put the small coil on. One, because there used to be a real big tree right here, but it spread out, and I couldn't always hunt this area around it, and they just cut it out, and now I've got a bunch of ground that I really haven't been over. Now, I got a 14. I knew it was going to be big iron, but I always want to clear the big iron out of this place because it was nothing but torn down buildings and old businesses from the turn of the century. So a lot of times I'll remove something like this, and this happens. Right next to it, it freed up a high tone that I couldn't even hear until I got that out. And it was a 22, and I dug down just 4 inches, and I found this, and I really like this. And you can see it's an old handle. Now, I thought it was a vent window handle, but these screws right here are kind of giving me a pause. But it's definitely old, and I would definitely put it back in the 30s at least, maybe 20s. Well, actually, I was sitting there looking at it a bit more, and I know what it is now. This is actually a very old toilet seat hinge. So definitely not a vent window to a car, but I'm sure that room probably could have used a vent window. But anyway, that's what that is. Well, this one was giving me a 14, and I find these all the time, and I'm sure you found a few yourself, but it's part of a harmonica reed plate. But I always enjoy finding these because I know I'm in an old area when they start showing up. And back in the day, almost everyone had a harmonica stuck in their pocket. I'll tell you, the iron is thick all over this area, and that small coil is doing beautifully. Got a high tone. And you can see how deep it was. It was, ooh-wee, yeah, about 9 inches, maybe a little more. But this popped out. Some kind of a copper end cap to something. You can see where a set screw was. But it's definitely old. Has that beautiful green patina. Unfortunately, there's no way to really know exactly what it went to. But cool looking find nonetheless. Well, this one was giving me a 15, and this is another reason I love this field. It was such a diversified group of buildings here. Some residential, some automotive, masons, as in stonemasons, and just there was even a wagon repair shop. So I'm always finding things that I haven't seen before, don't know what they are, and this is no exception. Look at this thing. I thought, well, okay, whatever. But then I started brushing off. Look at that flower design. It's on both sides. Isn't that awesome? And it's very heavy like lead. It's not lead though. And here's the bottom side. Well, I don't know, guys. I'm kind of feeling a mystery find coming on. Well, this one was giving me sometimes a high tone, 19 to 20, 21, and pulled out a really old zipper pull. Now, I might have a design and something else on it, so I thought I'd film it just in case it turned out to be something interesting. But pretty cool on its own. It's definitely a very old one. Well, I found some pretty neat things that day, but I still hadn't found enough for a video. And I knew I was going to have to get up early the next day on Monday and head out to do some more detecting. Well, I did just that, got up bright and early, and after a few hours realized this wasn't working either. I was having a pretty slow time of it. And I decided to head across town to another 1800s house permission that I have. Now, I've hunted the heck out of this place, except for one part, the backyard, or what used to be the backyard. Now it is a wildly overgrown area with briar patches, grapevines, and huge trees. It is thick. But I decided what the heck, I was going to give it a try. And I had a metal detect on my hands and knees through this, but sometimes you have to think outside the box to find the things that you know are out there. Well, I decided to come into these bunch of scrub brush. I mean, it's just really overgrown. This used to be the backyard of this old place, and now it's just thick. I'm actually hunting on my hands and knees, but it used to be a yard, so hopefully there's going to be something in here. But I did get a 19 to 21 down there, and I popped out a wheat penny. I don't know what year it is. It's kind of caked on the other side, so I'll have to get it cleaned up when I get home. But hey, that's a good sign, because I've been digging a lot of pull tabs and a lot of garbage so far. Well, this one was giving me a 22, and boy, I'm sitting here, look at this. This is all thorns and briars. I can't wait to see what my face looks like later. But I was going after a 22 high tone, so this is what I got. That's pretty cool, actually. I believe this is a boat trailer, a toy one. It might be Tootsie. I've gotten an older Tootsie trailer before, so pretty cool piece right there. Well, my next signal here was the 21. I saw the corner of it, knew what it was right away. And it's a inner mechanism frame, probably for a mantle clock. So, very cool item there, and definitely an old piece. Well, I'm hunting under some pretty thick shrubs and bushes. I've been digging garbage, but man, oh man, I think it paid off for me. I think I have something amazing in the hole. It's some kind of a badge, I'll tell you. That's all I know. It looks amazing. Check this out. I mean, it feels like a real thing. Oh my, not a toy. We're gonna spray this off and, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I was expecting another piece of garbage. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm gonna try to do this one-handed with y'all. Hopefully we can see something on it. Man, it is a seriously cool badge. Oh, heck yeah. What the heck is that? I think it says Warden. Holy cow, could you imagine? Oh, there's not much room to work in here. Wow. Yeah, I think it says Warden. You might be able to see it better than I can. Oh my gosh. I'll tell you what. I think it says Tennessee across here. Maybe Sheriff? I don't know. I'm going to have to get this cleaned off just a little bit more. But oh boy, I think I got a really cool piece right here. I'll be right back. Well, will you check that out? It says State of Tennessee Warden Department of Game, Fish, and Forestry. It's old. This is very old. How cool is that? Well, I am thrilled to pieces with this one. I worked hard today for this. It's been kind of slow, but you just never know. Just keep swinging. Just amazing. So happy with this one. Well, it turned out that this badge was among the very first badges ever made for the very first game wardens of the state of Tennessee. Now, I spent a lot of time researching and trying to find other examples of this badge, and I only came up with one other one. It appears that this badge is pretty rare. And I'm so thrilled to have this amazing piece of history. And here's another look at it, along with everything else that I found in this episode. Now, that wasn't all that I found in that briar patch, and I'm going to show you what else I found next week. Now, hang out with me for just one more minute because I have some amazing images to share with you, and I'm sure you're going to love seeing these. And remember, it's history that makes a find a treasure, and I can't wait to see you back here next week on Finding America.